Hello and welcome to a new series called the Honest Football Podcast Discuss.
In each episode we take a meaty topic that wouldn't quite fit into our ramble and pick the bones out of it. And this week we discuss the fine line between gamesmanship and cheating.
Yes, and after exactly 19 minutes of attempting to do the introduction, we are now into our meaty topic. And it's a bit of a poignant one, isn't it? Because
it's quite close to home, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, and it's quite current. It's current affairs, essentially. In the last week, we've had a very, very big issue with Craig Savage.
No comments? What are we talking about?
Yeah,
I've not been involved.
We did mention it briefly in the ramble at the weekend, and we're going to do some hypotheticals, and we want to discuss, when does gamesmanship become cheating? Is there a fine line, and how do we solve the grey area in the middle? So let's start.
Well, yeah, I think what you got to start with is this is football and this is the FA. It doesn't make any sense.
No, but it's a case of
no one wins.
No, but I went back to GCSE PE and
sure.
Yeah, now hang on, and to get a definition of what gamesmanship is, right? And then we'll see maybe the scenario that we're talking about, Craig, with you, and see where you fall on that.
Just before that, a slight side note, I was doing in high school, because we got taken over by academy, I was doing a BTEC sport, and the two sports we had to do one individual, one team. The team one was netball, and the individual was badminton, and I was actively encouraged to cheat by the teacher.
How?
I was told with badminton, and it just said, if the shuttlecock hits the floor, just try and catch it just before, and it won't matter. It won't matter. If it just bounces, I won't give anything. And netball, because it's the pivot and turn. I say, if you do a quick step while someone's not looking, you get away with it. You don't have to worry. There's only one person looking at this level. You can get away with a couple of steps. And I just thought, you know what? The game's gone. The game's gone. Sportsmanship's gone. And at that point, I realised everyone copies Premier League football.
Yeah.
So you've gone from badminton and netball to Premier League football, which are three different sports.
Well, we're not going to Premier League football.
So what we're saying is that, you know, there's a fine line between gamesmanship and trying to... Well, actually, I'll go through the definition. So we'll take it back a step. Sportsmanship, which this situation is nowhere near. But anyway, we'll go through it really quickly.
Sportsmanship is what we're aiming for.
Yeah, sportsmanship means playing within the rules and understanding and using sports etiquette. It is playing fairly in the spirit of the game.
And there you go.
In the spirit of the game. Wait, no, because you haven't let me finish. Showing respect and fair play to opponents and graciousness in both victory and defeat. And that, my friend, is the massive hurdle for you in this situation.
So
that's sportsmanship. That's sportsmanship. Now I'm going to say about gamesmanship, and we'll go for a massive...
Because that sentence you just said doesn't go with, I'm trying to claw back the 3 points.
No, does it? So gamesmanship... It exists in all levels of sport, but it is...
No evidence.
It is where competitors who are strongly ego-orientated or extrinsically motivated are more likely to have a win-at-all-costs attitude, leading to unsporting behaviour, but within the rules of the game. So that's gamesmanship. Right?
So is that like someone who's even playing a video game and just hacks you down when you're in one-on-one?
Yeah,
just exactly. So they compete their results?
Nah, that's also sportsmanship, because I'm taking one for the team. It's a team game, and obviously it's not the greatest of tactics, but it was effective.
Let's go through this hypothetical situation and see where it lies on what we've just said.
Now, so essentially, it boils down to morals and ethics, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it's mentioned in those definitions.
Let's start with the obvious, right? They fucked up.
Well, let's because there might be some people who don't know. So
they feel
you coached a team, and there was an issue with a team sheet, wasn't there?
So they named their 1 to 16. And they named a player that actually isn't the player that's actually in the team.
By accident.
Well, but you could say by accident.
But he's registered.
That player that's...
both players, the incorrect one and the correct one are eligible.
Now, how has that team not realised who this player is?
No,
let me speak. Let me speak. Because you're going to slag me off every 5 words.
We're just trying to point out that no one agrees with you.
I'm trying to explore my issue here. You just go, well, this doesn't matter. But, as I said, that player played up like these 4 or 5 games for this team.
Can I say, you'd make an amazing politician, because your ability to avoid a question is incredible.
I'm actually answering the question here. I'm replacing Theresa May of Brexit. But, how they played didn't realise who he was.
That's irrelevant information.
But you've actually given your team sheet to your opponent and the referee, and you still haven't realised. Now, hold on a minute. I'm speaking. I'm still speaking.
But you're speaking very slowly. Come on.
Thirdly, I'm trying to get the content right. Thirdly, you play the game. No problem with the game because the right team won. Not a problem with that.
Yeah.
And then you'll get your 25 bullet points. 4. We've asked the question to them. We said, did all your subs
a loaded question, right?
No, the question
after the game. When you notice before the game.
Okay,
carry on.
It really does.
It's hypothetical. Okay, here. We asked the question: did all your subs come on? The management.
If you say yes, it's no longer hypothetical. I'm just putting it out there.
I'm just saying it for one side. Did all the players come on? Yes. Did all we went to secretary? Did all the players come on? Yes. There you go. This is where they made a mistake. So we showed them their team sheet, what they wrote.
I think you're missing our point. You seem to think that I openly admit they have broken a rule.
As I said on the ramble,
in theory, they have broken a rule. However, it's the moral obligation that you knew they broke a rule before the game. And when I say you, I mean collectively as a club. You knew they broke a rule before the game.
Accidentally.
Yeah, accidentally before the game.
It's accidental.
But and here it is. You waited till when, though, Craig, to make me aware of the rule that they'd broken?
We told them on the day, didn't we?
No. When, in relation to the game, when did you tell them?
We told them after the game.
After the game. And what was the result of the game, just to clarify?
The other team won.
So I said, I put it to you.
We would have done the exact same thing if we won the game. Or
no, I'm not having that. Because what's the advantage to you if you've already won the game to then let them know?
We've missed the key bit of evidence, which is, was it 17 minutes past 8?
17 minutes past 8.
The message, lads, I'm trying to claw the 3 points back. Why does it, if you were going to do it anyway, if you win, which is absolutely fine, why would you then care after you've lost the game?
Because at the end of the day, if we'd done the exact same thing, we would have been hammered. All day we would have been hammered.
That's hypothetical again.
No, because it's the truth, because it's happened to us this season before.
Would say
because some team lost the game, fair and square, and decided to give us a fine over a stupid rule, saying that there was enough first teamers in that squad when there clearly wasn't.
Now, can I just say, I'm not defending that because obviously that's a different discussion. However, but if they didn't know that till after the game, and then they've called it after the game, whether you agree with the fine or not, the fact is they called it when they saw it, which was after the game.
Can I do the biggest?
But the thing is,
I want the biggest, most responsible thing, Craig. It's 2 wrongs don't make a right. I mean, we're talking in riddles, aren't we?
No, I just feel like the whole this discussion isn't just about the incident. It basically brought to a head.
It was stemmed from the incident.
Yeah. That where is gamesmanship becoming cheating? And I suppose we're not saying you actively cheated.
No,
but you've definitely gone to the very edge of the gamesmanship spectrum. If you want my honest opinion.
Well, the thing is, we didn't do it behind their backs. We didn't go right. We're going to complain to the league because of this.
You sort of did because you discussed beforehand that they'd done it.
We asked them about it.
But after the game, Craig.
But it doesn't matter. The fact that
that's the whole crux of the issue.
No, because if we asked them in the kinds of ways to say, did you get all your stuff gone? Did this person come on? And they both, and the management and the secretary both obviously had to look at the team sheet.
Yeah.
But both went yes.
Okay.
Now, according to their rules of this league, they've broken a rule.
The breaking of the rule is not up for discussion.
Can I ask you a question we haven't asked yet?
Because that's what I'm saying. They broke a rule, and at the end of the day, rules
are rules. Can I ask one question? We haven't asked yet. We haven't asked this question yet. At that point, if they just said, "Oh my God, we've forgotten, we've put the wrong player on there," they've realised they've made the human error and said it at that point. When you asked them after the game, would you have still reported them? Because that tells me a lot. Because if they admit I've made a human error, can I correct it? And you say no, I'm going to report you because we lost the game. Would you correct it?
They did say they made a mistake, but everyone says that though.
No, but what
everyone says that. It's like the same thing with Wayne Hennessy, for example. Also with the photo.
It's not. It's really not. That's a minefield you don't want to go into.
No, you're saying it's a mistake. Well, according to him, that was something else. So at the end of the day, they still broke a fucking rule.
Okay, so just to move on then, if not you personally,
let's go more generally.
Yeah. So if you were playing, for argument's sake, I know this is a football podcast, but just for a really quick discussion, you were playing tennis and you knew before the game that your opponent had taken some steroids or whatever it is that you're not allowed to take. Would you shop him then? Would you say to the umpire, he's taken some steroids, or would you wait until you got the result?
And then if you win, I don't know.
Exactly.
Let the next person suffer.
No, because it's still the same thing. You have to. Still got to tell them. This player's.
But would you do it before the game or after?
But why would you do it before the game? You're doing something else before the game. You're getting your team to do the warm up.
No, I'm on about if you're playing tennis. I'm on about you personally crawling now.
Because tennis.
The good example
No, you
of
just
tennis.
played the game. You did. How are you supposed to know he's taking drugs?
No, but hypothetically, if you knew
That's
that
just a stupid idea.
No, it's not. You're detracting it. What I'm saying is, if you were just, I don't know.
Well, I think we know the answer from what country.
You would wait and see the result, and that for me is where the gamesmanship then becomes more than just gamesmanship. And I think, unfortunately, in local football, that is becoming more and more common. Which is what we were saying, which is that I mentioned earlier about the spirit of the game. And local football is becoming a win-at-all-cost environment, which I hate. I mean, I'm not just saying this as a school teacher. Obviously, you go to play football to win. You know, that's part of it. But you have to draw that line of gamesmanship against win-at-all costs and basically cheating. Look, I'll put my cards on the table. In my opinion, from the limited information I've got, and I don't want to hear about the fact that they broke a rule, because I know they broke a rule. In my opinion, your club maybe showed too much gamesmanship for the level of football that it's at. And hear me out. My opinion is that you're not the only case of it, and I'll completely admit that there's almost too many clubs now at this standard of football. You go to the Premier League Championship, I get that. There's millions of pounds on the line. I'm not saying that makes it right, but I can see the justification for it. When you're talking about essentially park football, and people are willing to maybe wait until after a result and it's not just you, I'm on about other teams. Maybe I wait until after a result before shopping a team.
Well, it's everyone, isn't it?
A broken
Pretty
rule,
much, it's nearly everyone.
you know, that sort of thing. Where is that spirit of the game gone? Because it all comes out of being local football. You're playing for enjoyment.
And it's something we've discussed so many times on this podcast. It starts at the Premier League and it starts to filter down. This win at all costs, diving, appealing for every throw when you know it's never your throw in a million years, trying to con the ref. All of these little things start at the Premier League and they gradually filter down. And we've got to this stage now where, and I've seen it myself, I'm not even going to talk about the level semi-pro, amateur football and Saturday. I want to talk about Sunday League. Because that's something I'm very familiar with, we're all very familiar with. At Sunday League level, there used to be games where teams would do anything to win. Where teams would hound the referee, try and have a chat with him beforehand. There were a couple of Sunday teams locally to us who pay players to play Sunday League football to try and be better than the rest at national tournaments and things like that, and then have a little hissy fit when things don't quite go their way. No. And I don't really understand where football used to be the great social binding for everyone.
And that's the thing.
And this is what we're losing now, because the two teams after, they won't go for a drink and everything, because they've just been trying to beat the shit out of each other. Yeah, and
I think that's the point we're making.
It's so wrong.
It's so ruthless at the top level now. Football is so ruthless. It's the most ruthless industry in the world. But for some reason, I still don't really understand how that ruthlessness is seeped down. And now, like you say, in Sunday League football, I'm not saying that everyone needs to go around being sort of airy-fairy. You know, you expect everyone to be competitive.
But there has to be
an element of gamesmanship, you know, in the sense of you might... I
wouldn't say gamesmanship, there has to be an element of ruthlessness.
Yeah, exactly. But to a degree, and within the context of what you're playing. And I think that's where quite often now, too many times, it goes beyond that. You know, I liken it to cricket. You're obviously a cricket fan. You know, there's a bit of sledging to, you know, warm the batsman a bit up, and you know what I mean, in the sense of like getting his ear a little bit, make him think about the shots.
But you'll be the first to applaud him when they get under.
Exactly, but then there's sledging, and then there's going beyond that and being quite, you know, derogatory and abusive. And to put it into football terms, I think we've gone past that sort of banterish sledging stage, and we're now in the quite vindictive, ruthless, sort of abusive stage of football. And I just think it's a horrible sort of, I don't like using this word at all, but horrible cancer in the game that is just... It's becoming infectious, and I don't like it at all.
And it started to affect kids' football as well. They had to have the respect campaign and the banners around the pitch because of parents and things like that screaming. And again, we have to remember in all of this, it is the loud minority that ruin it for the silent majority.
Yeah, no, agreed.
There are so many football fans. Take a club like, I'm going to take one example, a club like Millwall, for example. They've done so much work, Family Club of the Year a couple of times. Thousands of brilliant families go and watch the games each time. These old 50 hooligans... and then ruining it for them.
No, agreed. No,
and giving the club the same reputation I had in the 80s. But largely, they're doing great work now off the pitch. Yeah. And that's where I find it such a shame. And
I just think it needs to be a firmer line between the two. In gamesmanship, like, I mean, obviously it's not going to happen at local football, but Norwich painted their change room pink. You know, so obviously there'd be something to do with colour, I don't know, it's like negative colour, isn't it, for playing sport or whatever
for
it is.
Hormones and
all that. So that's a bit of gamesmanship to a point. But it would then be awful if, you know, going beyond that then is like if you're downright cheating where you've got people outside the hotel making noise. Do you know what I mean?
The last thing for me is, does football not now just reflect society? So for the fact, you look at the top of comedy, musicians and sport, people like that, how many people in the last 10 years have been done for tax avoidance? So, again...
This is going in this direction.
No, but I genuinely wanted to say this, right? Because... what was the argument? It's not illegal, but it's immoral.
Exactly, yeah.
And is that not how our society's just become in every element?
Definitely.
That, it's not illegal, it's immoral, but no one's going to find it's illegal. It's not illegal.
I just think going back to the incidents like the one that you were involved in, Craig, I'm not saying yours specifically, but the ones like yours, higher up the chain, there's people whose job is to run a football club. And if that kind of error happens, I'm not saying they deserve to be punished, but you could say that's their day-to-day job.
But again, there's room there for professional, impartial bodies to be there to make sure that happens. There's no need for individuals and one-off teams to be sort of morally on their high horse. Or
I suppose, yeah. And whereas I think at the local level of football, where it is more for enjoyment as a hobby, there has to be a bit of the, not help each other out, but it has to be a bit of, look, you've got some fella who's been running the club for 30 years, he holds down a job and all of this. If you see he's made a mistake, is winning that important to you that you couldn't point that out, before the game and all that sort of thing?
Well, football has the ability, as we've said so many times, it's for everyone.
Yeah.
It has the ability to unite everyone in some of the most horrific circumstances on the planet, essentially. And in those circumstances, you can bring every single person in a community together. And it just seems such a shame that then when we go onto the pitch as 22 people or a management or whatever, that we then lose that.
Because that's the thing, and I think you hit the nail on the head really, is that now, for example, just using that one that you're involved in, Craig, once it eventually all unravels about what's happened, there will be an animosity between the two clubs that doesn't need to be there. So the next game is going to be a bit quite feisty, it's going to be a bit meaty because they've shafted us.
Harder for the referee.
Yeah, exactly, all of that sort of thing, and it doesn't need to be that way at that level. You don't. Like you're saying, you don't need that animosity. It's already competitive enough. You don't then need the needle of they're the ones who shafted us out of 3 points. That sort of thing. At the end of the day, unnecessarily. That's
largely speaking, you're all there playing for free.
Yeah.
Just trying to have a good time and enjoy playing a hobby, keep fit.
So I think unfortunately
so nonsensical, but maybe it's just our age.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think at the lower league level of football now, gamesmanship has become a far too big, and it has crossed that line into win at all costs / cheating in
Let's clear the grey area. It's a chance for us to bring football back to what it's supposed to be. Community, just friends having a good time.
Yeah, I mean, to borrow your phrase though, Craig, football is for everyone.
Football is for everyone.
And I think that's, it's good to have a debate about it. And I think if you don't do this sort of thing, you end up stagnating. You don't challenge those sorts of things and you end up almost stagnating and moving backwards. And I think you need to have that discussion to move forward.
As we have seen in the past, stagnate but regenerate. And that is...
I'll tell you what, you went quiet for a bit, but that's the best segue.
And that is it for today's discussion. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and leave a comment in the section below if you believe we are talking utter rubbish or actually correct for once. And we'll see you next time.